break it down, thinking of making a new sound. Playing a different show every night in front of a new crowd. That's new now. Chow seems to laugh is great now. See me lose focus.
Hey guys, Ben Lai here from Rockstar Fitness. Today's video we're looking at food prepping and giving you guys some more ideas that you can start to put together on the weekends and plan out all your meals ahead for the week. Now for those of you who've been following me on Facebook, you'll know that this month I am doing the Pescatarian Challenge, meaning that I can eat fish and veggies, but I'm not eating any meat at all for this month, the month of April. I can have animal byproducts like milk and cheese and eggs, but no meat at all. Now the three meals that we are prepping today are a pumpkin soup with coconut cream, a vegetarian stir fry with tofu, and a vegetarian frittata with ocean trout on the top. So all three really simple and fantastically tasty meals. Now to start off, we're looking at the pumpkin soup. Now as I mentioned in the last video, it's all about organisation. Oven's on, 180 degrees. I've got a big pot of water here, just boiling away. Let me start that up again. Just boiling away, and that pot of water is going to start the main stock for our soup. That's where we're going to start to infuse a lot of our flavours. So what I like to do, you don't have to do this, it's just what I like to do. I like to get a whole pumpkin, butternut pumpkin, and I like to roast it a little bit first. By roasting it, you start to caramelise the flesh and the sugars in the meat already, and then when you add that to the soup, it gives you a nice smoky flavour as well. So to start off, all I'm going to do is cut the skin off the pumpkin. And as I mentioned in the last video, have a nice little rubbish bowl just in front of you. Chop it up into nice wedges. Doesn't have to be super small. Just keep in mind the thicker that you cut your pieces, the longer it will take to roast. Throwing them into a bowl. Easy, really simple, big chunks, doesn't matter. Butternut pumpkin, cut the edge off, slide your knife down the pumpkin, make sure you've got a nice sharp knife to do this. You want to make sure that it's all nice and neat and easy to do. A nice little trick, if you want, and I'll show you this one, is you can cut it sideways and then just cut along to get your nice easy peeled pumpkin. That's a nice little trick as well, makes things a little bit faster. Really depends on what you prefer. Throw that on there as well. So again, the thicker that you cut these pieces of pumpkin, the longer it will take to roast. I don't know about you, but I didn't have that much time. So I just want to get all these meals up and running and ready to go. Makes it really easy to do. So all the rubbish, make sure you get a nice clean space. So now all I do, I've got my pumpkin, olive oil, I give it a nice big splash. Get it all nice and lubed up. What I like to add to that is some paprika. I'm using mild, you can use a hot one if you prefer. I find that gives it a nice little depth of flavour, as well as a little bit of a smokiness that adds. So about half a tablespoon. Now for those of you watching the video on YouTube, I do have a full list of these ingredients before this video, so you don't have to sit and listen to my gob talk about all this sort of stuff to get all the ideas of what you need to buy. Alright, toss that through, lay it out on your baking tray, okay. Make sure you've got plenty of space between them all. Opening up your oven, chucking the whole pumpkin straight in there, like I said, 180 degrees. And that will normally take approximately 30 to 40 minutes to caramelise. And like I said, if you didn't have the time, you could just throw it straight into the pot. What we're looking at next is infusing flavours into that sauce. That soup, sorry. So, I've got some water that's boiling. All I'm going to start with, some onions, top and tail them, cut straight down the middle, peel off your skin, really easy, that membrane, make sure that's not in there. Now these don't have to look pretty when you're cutting them, because at the end of the day we are going to be blending this soup. The whole point of this is just to get some extra flavour into that soup. So, one onion, quarter if you like, throw it in there, quarter it, throw it in there. I've got 3 onions that I'm doing in total, top and tail. Now I don't know about you, but I love pumpkin soup. I like pumpkin in all honesty with everything. I like roast pumpkin, pumpkin pie, always pretty nice too. This is quite a small onion, so I'm just going to throw that in whole. Same with this one, just make sure the skin's off. Goes in, top and tail that. last onion. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the last food prepping video. Hopefully you got to try some of the videos and some of the recipes and taste it for yourself. Now, like I said at the beginning, if you know, vegetarian items aren't your thing and you really feel like you can't live without meat, this pumpkin soup is really nice, served with some nice crispy chorizo sausage, which you can add at the end, which I think is really, really nice. Quarter, throw that in there, quarter, throw that in there. So my onions are in the pot. Now what I think adds a nice sweetness to the soup is carrots. So I don't really peel them, I don't think I need to. Top and tail, just make sure they're clean, you've washed them. Cut them in easy chunks, that when you chuck them in a blender they can be blended, no problem. Throw those into your soup as well. Now what we're trying to do is just infuse flavour into this soup. So now I've got 3 cloves of garlic. I just want a slight hint of garlic, I don't want it too strong. Because I'm making a week's worth of soup, I can get away with 3. If you're making a couple of servings, you probably only do 1. Top and tail, smack it, peel off your skin, give it a squeeze, should all come off pretty easy, throw it in whole. Like I said, I am blending it, so I have no problem throwing these in whole. That goes in as well. This one as well. Done. So, this is how simple it is. The base of my soup's ready to go. I've already oven roasting my pumpkin. I'll come back in about 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, throw that pumpkin into that soup, and then we'll start on the second phase of this whole meal prepping journey that we're on. See you soon. Okay guys, so it's been 30 minutes since we chucked the pumpkin into the oven. Now I just want to show you something. So I'm going to open it up, pull out the pumpkin. As you can see, it's all started to caramelize around the edges. That there is a really nice smoky charcoaly flavour, and that's what I want to infuse into the soup. So we've had our little broth bowling over here, we've got our onions and our carrots and our garlic in there. Just going to open that up and just going to put some of these pumpkin chunks into that soup. So now I'm going to let this simmer again for about another 15 to 20 minutes just to allow those pumpkin pieces to soften a little bit more and to get that smoky flavour through the soup. Put your pan back in the oven if you need to. Turn the oven off, or leave it on actually, we still need it. Okay, at this point I want to add a little bit more flavour to that soup. So over here we've got this great little product over here called Vegeta. Now I think it adds a nice little flavour and herb sequence to soups and broths and stocks. So all I'm going to do is just put in about a whole tablespoon. As you can see, I wing it. I like to just throw a bit here, a bit there. Okay, put the lid back on. I'm just going to let that go for about another 15-20 minutes, just so everything softens and fuses together. The next thing we're starting on is our frittata. Now the frittata is all about prep work. So, what we're going to start with, it's all about our veggies. So, what I'm going to get going first, I'm going to get some mushrooms ready. So all I'm going to do is just chop those mushrooms up. Really simple, nice and thin. The thing about a frittata is that you don't want big huge chunks of flesh and food and stuff in the frittata. You want each slice to be nice and even and easy. Now obviously if you don't like to cut your mushrooms really quick, easy way to do it. Light down the side, keep the point of your knife on the board and just slide the knife forwards and back like a choo-choo train. There you go, easy. You guys are going to be like Emerald Lagasse in 2 seconds, you watch. So once I've got some mushrooms done, easy. The next piece that I'm going to throw in is some asparagus. I love asparagus tears. Now the thing about asparagus and all the other big meaty vegetables that I'm about to throw in, I don't want them to cook or have to cook for too long in the oven. So what I've got here is a big pot of boiling water, and all I'm going to do is just slice these into smaller pieces, easy chunks, really simple. I'm just going to throw those into the boiling water to get it all started. I want the cooking process almost already done by the time I throw it all into the pan. Alright, next thing I got, some sweet potato. Top and tail with sweet potato. Skin it the same way that we did in the last video. Slide that knife down on the outsides. I find it the easier way. You can use an apple peeler if you like. And all I've got is one small sweet potato. This is going to give me a little bit more bulk to my frittata. Help keep me a little bit more fuller for longer. Slice it in half. Now in your half you want to cut it into 4 segments. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Once it's in 4 segments, cut it into easy squares. That's how simple that is. I'm going to throw that into the boiling water as well because I want that going. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Again, cut into your squares. Easy. Alright, so now our big chunky meat vegetables are off and running. Zucchini. Top and tail that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get this pan nice and hot. Things like the zucchini, the onion, and the capsicum, I'm going to just go straight into a hot pan. I'm going to let them sweat down a little bit. So with the zucchini, cut it in half, cut it in a quarter, cut it in a quarter again. So now, lay them up together and cut yourself some nice easy squares. Really, really simple guys, like this is so basic. Since going pescatarian this month, I've noticed how great vegetables are and how much you can use them. Good splash of olive oil. Nice little tip. Hot pan, cold oil, food doesn't stick. Well, at least that's what I found. Throw your zucchini into the pan for it to start the cooking process. Now I've got half an onion here. Peel the skin back. Peel the skin back. Cut it in half. I like to put a couple of incisions through the middle of it, a couple down the centre, and then I get nice easy squares when I cut it. Or a nice cheats way is you can just cut it into chunks, put it all together in a big mound, put your fingers on the edge of the knife and just slide your knife through. And there you go, you've chopped it into little pieces really quickly and really easily. So, half an onion into the pan as well. Now, I've got a long red chilli here. I like chilli, I like things a little bit spicy. If you don't, leave it out. I'm going to leave the seeds in it as well. Just slice it into nice easy rings. Take that, throw that into the pan as well. Make sure you wash your hands before you touch your eyes. And my capsicum. All I'm going to do is cut down the top, let the core fall out, cut that into easy squares. So I've cut it lengthways, turn it sideways, cut it lengthways again. Real simple guys, easy squares. Give that a little bit of stir. Now as you can see we're trying to load this full of veggies. Cut the bottom off, we're not going to waste anything on this. Cut it lengthways. Get that going as well. Cut that. Capsicum's in. Cut it down the middle. And now what you're going to do is put your knife in where the core is and just roll it out like a carpet. Roll and let your knife just do all the work. Easy. Cut into a chunk, cut it lengthways, cut it into squares. It's all about understanding how to get it into geometric shapes guys, really simple. Lengthways, cut it into squares, gives it a really nice sweetness. Lengthways, cut into squares. Alright, now you can really throw anything into a frittata. Any leftover veggies that you guys have, you can throw in there. What I've got next is some cherry tomatoes. What I'm going to do with these, I'm going to cut them in half because I like a nice little burst of flavour when I cut into my frittata. I'm going to throw about 10 cherry tomatoes in there. That's going easy, easy. One more. Right, so now that's all boiling away, that's all getting there nice and nice. So I'm going to add a little bit more flavour to it. Butter. Now, everyone's like, oh, butter's so bad for you. Look, at the end of the day, everything in moderation. We're already exercising and training quite hard, we're watching what we eat. A little bit of butter is not going to hurt you. Decent fat. That's about 50 grams of butter. Now if you really work it out, that's 50 grams of butter over 5 servings. It's not that bad. All that's doing is giving us a nice creaminess to the frittata, and because to be honest, eggs can be boring, we want to just make sure that this gives us a nice little flavour hit as we're going along. So, I've got my mushrooms, I can throw those in now because I didn't want those to be too mushy. That's all in there. Give that a bit of a stir. Easy. If you don't like tossing, stir it with a spoon. Easy. Okay. So what I'm doing next, eggs. I'm cracking my eggs. So, what I've got here, 10 eggs. Now with 10 eggs, what we're doing, or the reason why I chose 10 eggs, pretty simple. Works out 5 meals, 2 eggs per slice, 2 eggs per meal, 10 eggs. Okay. Bowl, crack it, place your forefinger and your middle finger either side of the crack, squeeze and pull. Simple as that. Crack, squeeze and pull. The great thing about doing this way is you don't actually end up with any shell in there. Give it a nice hard hit, don't be gentle. Hard smack, squeeze and pull. Easy guys. These are large organic free range eggs. Pretty much the only way that I like to stick with. Large organic free range. Crack, squeeze, pull. Crack, squeeze, pull. Just practice guys, it's so simple. When you've done it, you'll be like, whoa, I've got something to show all my friends. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, just going to get out a nice, easy little strainer. I'm just going to tip these veggies that I had soaking and getting soft already straight into my pan. So watch out, the edges will be hot. Grab that into my strainer. Alright, asparagus, sweet potato, in that goes. Pan down, that in the sink, and I can turn off that back boiling water. Okay, so give that a little bit of a squash around. So simple guys, really, really simple. And you can see all those veggies in there, it's packed full of flavour. Now you notice on the soup I haven't seasoned it yet, because at the end of the day I'm going to save that to the last, but with the frittata I am going to season it. So a little bit of salt. We know the veggies can be quite bland. Some pepper. Good spray of pepper. Easy. What I'm also going to add to is some fresh parsley. Really simple guys. Chop, 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 chop. About half a handful of fresh parsley there. Throw that in there too. Give that a bit of a stir. Good. Turn your heat right down. Now, what we've got here, your eggs, whisk it all up, break those yolks all up together. Now a cool little tip is as you're whisking, you've got this many eggs in a bowl, eggshells tend to sink to the bottom. If you happen to do get any eggshells in there, don't worry, they'll sink to the very bottom. And then when you tip it out, they'll stay in the bottom of the bowl. So 10 eggs, just going to tip that all over the top. Perfect. So give that a stir through, make sure the egg goes all the way through the out to the edges. Because if you have lots of veggies on the outside or in the middle, what will happen is it'll all fall apart when you go to cut it into pieces. So mix it up, make sure it's all evenly dispersed. Now what I'm going to do, take that, put it in my oven at 180 degrees, which is still on. Whole thing, pan it all, chuck it in there, close it all. That's done. Really, really, really simple. Okay guys, so it's been 15 minutes. My soup's been boiling away, my frittata's been cooking away, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that out now. We obviously don't want it to be overcooked. Don't forget, the handle of the pan is quite hot, so as you can see it's all nice and served and solid. Just going to put it down there to cool because I don't want it cooking too much more. Now it comes time to blend up my soup. Now, what I'm going to use is one of these cool whiz bang bar mixers. If you don't have one of these, you can just spoon it into a blender, blend it up, put it back into the pot. Now be careful, because when you are putting it into the blender, don't overfill it and don't really fill it more than a third the way full, because it is hot, creates steam. So when you turn on the blender, it'll just blow all over the place. So only a third of the blender at a time. If you don't have a blender, well, you're kind of going to enjoy some chunky pumpkin soup. So, bar mix, chuck it in there and just start blending away. It's going to get a little noisy for a second. Okay, so I'm all blended up. Turn that off, get that out of the way. Okay, so now it comes time to flavoring. Now flavoring this, now I'm going to add my seasoning. So, good crack of salt. I mean, I've got here about 2.5 litres worth of soup, so a good hint of salt. Can always add more later, can never take it away. Good amount of pepper. Throw that in there as well. Easy. Give that a bit of a stir. Alright. Now what we're going to do, just taste it. That's pretty good. Now, I'm not going to add more salt. It does definitely need a little bit more seasoning. But because I'm adding coconut cream into it now, what I don't want to do is over salt it and then try and figure out how to get the balance right again. So, organic coconut cream, 1 can, pop that open, get that all ready, throw it in the bin, scoop out your cream, easy, and give that a stir through. Great thing about coconut cream, unlike normal cream, is that if the soup's really hot, it doesn't split. Okay, so give that a good stir through. Awesome, make sure it's all dissolved. Great. So now what we're going to do is just going to taste it again. Get it clean. Oh yeah, that's pretty damn good. Now if you want to intensify the flavour, you can just let it on a low simmer and let it boil away until it reduces a little bit more. But I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to add some salt. Good amount of salt. Good amount of pepper again. Now it's all about tasting, adding, just juggling your flavours the right way. Okay. Now what I like to add as well, chili flakes. Like I said, I like my stuff hot, so I just like to add some dry chili flakes. It's totally up to you if you want to add or not. I like to add a decent amount of chili flakes. Give that a stir, get it all through it. Alright. How simple was that? Frittata's done, pumpkin soup is done. Now to serve up the pumpkin soup, usually what I do is I'll usually put a dollop of sour cream on it if I want it to feel like I want it to be bad, but you know, it's entirely up to you, you don't really need it. What you do is you can throw some fresh parsley through it as well to add some extra flavour. So what we're looking at next is the last dish, stir fry. Really, really, really simple. Again, organisation, have some water boiling just out here. Where's my, there it is. Have some water boiling because I want to get all the root vegetables all done and soft so I don't have them stewing in their own juices. I've got a wok, but if you don't have a wok, you don't need to use one. Just going to turn it off real quick because a wok tends to heat up very, very fast. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to cut up my root vegetables. So clean down your space, make sure it's all really clean. First thing I've got some sugar snap peas, snow peas. Love these things. Easy way to top and tail. Pinch the top, pull and you'll see the membrane just come away and it just spins away that way. Perfect. You don't want that spine ends up being quite chewy. Alright, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Alright, those are all done. I'm just going to throw them into my boiling water. Next thing I've got is some shallots. Just going to use 2 shallots. Now on the outside here you've got this crappy sort of outside covering, these leaves. Peel those off, you don't need them. Gives you a nice clean stalk then. Cut off the bottoms, cut off the tops. This is what we're going to use at the end, so don't throw those away. Now, what we are going to do is chop these up nice and chunky. So, I like to cut them into about 2 or 3 centimetre cuts. Nice big pieces of spring onion. Easy. Might actually put one more in. Okay, peel off that outside. Really easy, guys. Simple, simple, simple work. So again, in the span of, I don't know, about an hour, hour and a bit, I've done 10 meals, 3 dishes. That's how simple it is. Cut those bits off, I need those. Cut those into nice chunky chunks. Alright, great. Next thing I've got some broccoli. Cut all the little heads off. You can make them smaller if you need to, but I'll just throw them in the way that they are. Give them nice little cuts. Split them apart if you want to. Divide them up. Here you go, my cucumber's in the water. It's boiling away. Nice and simple. Now, a lot of people throw out the stalk. Don't throw that out. Take the top off. Take the bottom off. Throw it in your rubbish bin. Cut the sides off so it gives you a nice easy square. There you go, all I've done is trim the root down and it looks like that. Just a square. Simple. All I'm going to do with that, cut it lengthways so it looks like slivers. Cut it again, and that way I have a batten. Throw that into the hot water too. The roots, great, nothing wrong with them. Completely edible. Won't make you feel sick at all. Okay, now we're going into the things that we're going to start frying straight away. So those are all boiling away. They're getting soft. Really, really nice. Alright, aromats. Onion. Love the smell of onion. All I'm going to do, give that a cut. Cut it down the middle. Peel it. Easy, guys. Easy, easy, easy work. Throw them into your rubbish bowl. Same as on the other side. Okay, now I can get my wok started. So, turn it up nice and hot. Cut your onions, just lengthwise. Nothing pretty. Get those straight into your fry pan. Same as on the other side. So you can hear that sizzling already. That is how fast a wok heats up. Get yourself a nice good quality wok. If you don't have a wok, like I said, you can just use a fry pan. I'm just going to use some olive oil. Doesn't really matter, you can use vegetable oil. I generally don't use vegetable oil, but entirely up to you if you want to go authentic. So, 2 cloves of garlic, cut the top off, crush it, throw that in there. So everything here now happens really fast. So, if you want, you can cut these in advance. If you don't feel that comfortable cutting. So, 2 cloves of garlic, throw those in. Ginger. I'm going to cut off a bit about the size of my thumb. If you have a big thumb, then I guess you really love ginger. What you're going to do is cut the edges off, trimming the skin off, the same way we did the sweet potato, same way we did the pumpkin. Trim it right down. There we go. So there you go, a naked piece of ginger. All I'm going to do is cut that gently and chop that, roughly chop. You can chop it fine, you can chop it thick. Depends on if you like lots of big chunks of garlic. Remember that trick I taught you with the onion? Just run your knife through, get it down nice and smooth. Great. Throw that in too. Now, because you don't want the onion burning, give it a stir. Easy. Great. Let all those flavours start to come together. Next, I've got 3 chilies. Now, green chilies, long chilies aren't really that hot, so I'm just going to cut them in nice big chunks. It is entirely up to you if you want it hot or if you want to throw that many in. I like them. I think they just add a nice little bite of flavour. Seeds and all. These chilies are quite long, so I might only throw 2 chilies in there. We keep an eye on it, it's going to start popping soon. Easy, that goes in there as well. Give that a stir. So now all my aromats are in there. Cooking away, really simple. Alright, just keep it stirring. You don't want it to burn. You don't want anything to burn in this. Okay, now I'm going to throw my shallots in there. They go in. They're kind of like onions, fat, big onions. Good. They're off and away. Next I've got half a red capsicum. I'm going to cut that lengthways. Give it a chop. Nice, long, chunky pieces. You want this to be quite a meaty stir fry. Throw that in. Good. See, I'm just doing this in real time. Just going to add a little bit more oil. Keep the cooking process going. Give that a stir. You want the heat on high the whole time. Next thing I'm going to use, some celery stalks. So, what I'm going to do, cut the bottom, take out the leaves, I don't need those, chop that off. Great, leaves me with a stalk, just cut them on an angle. Simple work guys, really simple and easy food, tasty food. So my celery's done, throw that in the pan, give that a bit of a toss. See all those crisp, nice colours? Look great, look at that, look at that, awesome. Okay, next thing I'm looking at, I'm going to introduce those veggies into the veggies that I've had boiling, the broccoli and the snow peas. Strain them out with a spoon, throw them in your pan. We want them infusing with all the flavours as well. Doesn't matter if there's some water in it. It'll help some of the veggies start to stew a little bit. Throw those in. Really tasty guys, really easy tasty food. A lot of people freak out when they're cooking at home. Cooking should be simple, fun, and rewarding. How many times you go on the phone and order like $50 worth of takeout? You don't even know what's going into your food. Give it a good stir. All the garlic, all my ginger is going through it. The veggies are starting to sweat just a little. I don't want them to sweat too much. Give them a stir. Now I'm going to add my flavourings. First thing, sesame oil. Good splash of sesame oil. Now careful with sesame oil because it can be quite potent. So you don't want too much. Soy sauce, just light soy sauce, naturally brewed. About 2 tablespoons. Fish sauce, love fish sauce. Good spray of that. That'll give it a really nice saltiness. That was about 2 tablespoons. Last but not least, ketchup manis. Ketchup manis is a sweet soy sauce, so I'm just going to pop that, give that in. You don't want too much of that, but I'm just going to add a little bit more sweetness to it. You're just going to put about 2 tablespoons of that. Okay, so there's all my flavourings. Give that a toss. That'll all infuse together. Everything's pretty much cooked now. Now all I'm going to add is my stir-fried noodles. Now I've got these hot can noodles from Fantastic. Easy, cheap, egg noodles. Give them a cut. What you want to do, take them out of the packet. Because they've been all bound together, they come out in a wad like that. You just want to massage them apart. Gentle, don't be too rough with them. You don't want all your noodles to be in little tiny pieces. Tiny little pull, and they'll just come apart. See, it's just flaking apart. Let them come out. The heat will make them come apart even more. See it, just gentle, take your time with it. I don't need to put them in any boiling water beforehand or anything like that. Easy. Okay, some noodles. Got some more over here. Just throwing in about 2 packets really. It works out to be about 600 grams of noodles. So obviously it's got to get me through the week. Throw in some more. Okay, that's good. Give that a stir. Now you want the noodles to get all infused and cooked out and stewed, so stir it through, just fold it. Don't have to be rough with it, just fold it. All we're doing now is just heating the noodles through. You want them to take on the flavours of that soy sauce, take on the flavours of that fish sauce, try to keep it in the pan. Easy. There you go, fold it. Great, and there you have a massive pile of stir fry. So, just pick up that, throw that in my rubbish bowl. Now those stalks that you had at the end, all you're going to do now, lay them all out and just toss them up as a nice garnish. This again, this is another element of flavour. Freshens everything up a little bit. Just let that rain down all over your stir fry. Rain down. Awesome. You can turn that off now. It's just going to sit in its own heat. Last but not least, I'm going to add some protein to it. I'm just going to use tofu. If you don't like tofu, you don't even need to add it. As I mentioned before, if you're not on a pescatarian mission like I am, you can add beef, chicken, anything you really like to it. What I'm using here is a firm tofu, so it stays in a nice strong block. Just going to cut it into big cubes. So cut it straight down, cut that in half, cut it into cubes. So each cube looks like that. Throw that through it as well. Good. Half. Cubes of tofu, throw that in there. I'm going to use the whole block, but it's entirely up to you how much you use, or if you use it at all, as I mentioned. Sweet. Now all you're going to do is just stir that tofu through to heat it up slightly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit more soy sauce, give it a little bit more salt. I can see here that it just needs a little bit more, about 4 tablespoons more. And I'm going to add some lemon juice. So cut that in half, squeeze it in, making sure there's no seeds in there. Just freshens everything all the way up, goes nice with the salt content. Great. Into my rubbish bowl. Wash my hands up. And there you have it, guys. 3 simple, easy dishes. Check out my stir fry. Simple, basic. Pumpkin soup's on, my frittata's done. Come back, I'm going to show you in about 10 minutes when it's all plated up, how it looks in my presentation and in my Tupperware containers. Okay guys, so I'm just about to dish up and separate all the food into the Tupperware containers that I've got all ready here. And I just want to show you a little trick that I'm going to use with the frittata. So my frittata's had a chance to cool a little bit. It's all ready to go. All I'm going to do, place it down on a bench. Move that handle out of the way. Get my chopping board, turn it upside down, put it on top of the pan. And all I'm going to do is very gently take it and turn it upside down. And there you have it. My frittata is all ready to be sliced and separated into my Tupperware containers. Really, really simple. See you guys when it's all done. Well, there you have it, guys. It's taken me about an hour and a half to put together 15 meals. 3 different types of recipes. 3 meals per day, 5 days. Really, really, really easy to put together, really tasty. Now these are my vegetarian options, and like I said, you can add protein to it later on. You can add chicken to the frittata if you wanted to. You could do beef to the stir fry. You could add chorizo sausage fried up in the pan to your pumpkin soup. What I've done is I've just topped the frittata with some ocean trout to give it a little bit more flavour, a little bit more protein, a little bit more fish oil and fats. And then these will all, like I said, take me throughout the week. Hope to see you soon.
Songs are where my heart is. I'm like glue, I stick to other artists. I'm not you, now that'll be disastrous. Let me sing and do my thing and move to greener pastures.